This is Car 101. We're at the scene. There is a violation. Section 3373.24, Revised Code, State of Ohio. A lot of people here have the illegal product in the parking area. We'll padlock the establishment and bring the operators in for a booking. I hate to do this job, but I guess we'll have to. We'll bring the operators directly down to the station.
The law, which is now being enforced in some parts of Ohio, is not interpreted the same way in every community. Still, it is a state law, a part of the Ohio Code. The crime, selling milk on Sunday. Small dairy stores like this one have been open 7 days a week in Ohio for more than a quarter of a century. People have grown accustomed to buying fresh milk and bread whenever they run out. But in recent months, there has been growing pressure to halt sales of fresh milk and food items on Sundays. There are two reasons why. First, the large food stores, which are too big to operate profitably on Sundays because their overhead cost is too high, don't like the fact that their smaller competitors do any business at all on a day when they are closed. And secondly, all retailers who close on Sundays, especially the large downtown department stores, are concerned about the growing trend toward Sunday retailing. Now, they don't care about the dairy stores or the small mom-and-pop food stores that serve neighborhoods. But they are seeking a weapon to protect themselves against the growing number of discount houses that operate on Sundays. This is the weapon they have found: the Ohio Blue Law. Ohio's Sunday closing law was written in 1831, when there were fewer people in the entire state than live today in Cleveland. It was a good law for the time. It said that no work should be performed on Sundays unless it be work of necessity or charity, and most people then thought it was a good idea, just as most people today still think it is. Our lawmakers in 1831 didn't bother to explain what they meant by work of necessity, but that wasn't much of a problem. There was very little work being done on Sundays anyway. There was no electric service to provide, no natural gas, no telephone, telegraph, public transportation. There was no radio, and television was still more than a century away. There was no gasoline or oil because cars would not be invented for several generations. About the only things that were considered necessities in 1831 were food, fuel, and shelter. And even food was not clearly defined by the law as a necessity. Today, most of us can agree that these things are necessities of modern family life and should be available 7 days a week. Public utilities, including transportation, radio and TV, household fuels, drugs and medical supplies, newspapers and other news media, gasoline and oil, milk and other foods, products used for personal hygiene and sanitation. Yet none of these items has ever been made clearly legal for Sunday sale, either by the old law or by any subsequent decision of Ohio's courts. As a result, the old law can be interpreted in any way that any local authority chooses to interpret it. Just about anything can be allowed open on Sundays, or just about anything can be closed. In most communities, the old law is considered so outmoded that it is ignored entirely. Many prosecutors and judges have pronounced it unenforceable. So in about 98% of the cities and towns in Ohio, anything goes on Sunday. Any businessman who wants to open may do so without fear of prosecution or harassment. A lot of people are sincerely disturbed about this Sunday commercialism, especially church people. They've been calling on their authorities to do something about it. And the retailers who compete with these Sunday merchandisers have been only too glad to join in the song. That's why the ancient blue law has been dusted off in the last couple of years. Some communities are trying to apply the 1831 law to 1962 conditions, and that's where the problem arises. The law doesn't spell out what necessities can be sold, and just about every enforcement authority and judge seems to have a different idea about what constitutes a necessity. It will take 3 years just to litigate the cases in our courts right now. Most of us have a Sunday morning newspaper delivered by a boy like this one. His work can't be considered either necessary or charitable by any stretch of the imagination. But we don't want the boy thrown in jail, so we all ignore this violation of the law. We also like to read our papers on Mondays, so we let the newspaper men gather news and process it on Sundays, so it will be ready for us the next day, even though this, too, is a clear violation of the blue law. When commercial announcers or newsmen like me do our work on radio or television every Sunday, it doesn't seem to bother many people, and yet, how can anybody consider a TV commercial as permissible under the Sunday law? We permit commercials because we want the programs they make possible. There are hundreds of examples of our hypocrisy about the law. These are only a few, and you probably don't have to worry about these things being taken away because there's no pressure to take them away, even though they may be illegal. But there is plenty of pressure being applied by retail merchants who don't operate on Sunday to take away some other things that the public wants just as much, if not more. Things like milk. In recent months, a wave of pressure has been sweeping across Ohio to enforce the blue law rigidly. In the wake of this wave, we've had not only discount stores shut down, but dairy stores, small neighborhood mom-and-pop food stores, neighborhood bakeries, confectionaries, and delicatessens. Maybe this wave hasn't reached your community yet, but it probably will, and soon. Is this enforcement really in the public interest? Let's take a look. Not long ago, Community Research Associates, an independent survey organization, polled people to find out what they want and do not want available on Sundays. They listed 24 different items in random order and asked Ohioans to check only the items they thought the public should be able to buy 7 days a week. This is the list, ranked in order of popularity. These items of general merchandise were very unpopular, as you can see. They are wanted on Sundays by fewer than 20% of the people. These items, on the other hand, are wanted by most people. It's interesting that milk is one of the most wanted items on the list, since milk is one of the chief targets of the enforcement officers in their recent crackdowns. Actually, more people want fresh milk available 365 days a year than telephone or electric service. Food items are also wanted by a majority of the people. So this is the dilemma. Some of the things that the people consider necessary on Sundays are not considered necessary under some interpretations of the law. And that's why the law is unfair, not only to the public, but to the merchants it regulates. The law can be interpreted to help some merchants and hurt others. What do Ohio's judges think about the law? Judge William Burns, in a recent court decision, said this:
The ramifications of this silly, stupid, and idiotic law are endless. I see only one course out of this dilemma: revision of the present law. Otherwise, there will be chaos in the courts and endless litigation.
Judge Harry Wyckoff says this:
No peace officer should attempt to interpret this law. We are living in an entirely different age today than when this law was first passed.
Judge Nathan Copeland says this:
All is confusion and chaos because the law can be interpreted in so many different ways. I think it should be refined and redefined.
On Tuesday at the polls, you will have an opportunity to refine and redefine Ohio's Sunday closing law. Issue number 1 on your ballot is a proposal to amend the law. It does not repeal the present blue law. It simply spells out very clearly the specific items that should be considered necessities exempt from Sunday closing. These are the items: milk and other foods, products used for personal hygiene and sanitation, public utilities and transportation, radio and TV, household fuels, drugs and medical supplies, newspapers and other news media, gasoline and oil. If the amendment passes, it will have the effect of limiting Sunday commercialism to these specific items. At the same time, it will guarantee your right to buy these items whenever you need them, 7 days a week. The amendment is on the ballot because 500,000 Ohioans throughout the state signed petitions to put it there. The petitions were circulated by the Lawson Milk Company, one of the firms whose small dairy stores have been open on Sundays for 23 years. but are now being threatened with closure unless the law is modernized. Lawson's has always been a fighting company with a long record of public service. This is William Howlett, Lawson's chairman, who is campaigning actively in behalf of the issue.
Is that one of the new model cars you're driving, Mr. Howlett?
No, that's a 1919 Model T. And Ohio's blue law is 88 years older than that car.
That's interesting. Mr. Howlett, how's the campaign going?
I feel it's going very well. There seems to be a lot of pressure groups against the issue, but the people are for it. I've been traveling up and down the state, and I have a feeling everywhere that the people are going to the polls, and the major share of them vote favorably on this issue.
Now, you've been criticized for taking this issue directly to the people instead of through the state legislature. Would you care to comment on that?
Well, the legislature has had 131 years to clarify this law. In the last 22 sessions of the legislature, 32 bills have been introduced to clarify work of necessity, which is the trouble clause in this statute. And the lobbyists have killed every single one of these bills except the one which legalized the state fair and which was recommended by the Attorney General. That's the Recreation Amendment. So that we don't feel that the legislature can do this job because the lobby is too strong in Columbus.
In reality, then, has there anything ever really been done about this problem clause to define necessities?
Well, many attempts have been made. They've largely failed because of this lobby, and we just feel that the time has come for the public to decide the issue.
And the lobbyists you refer to, do you feel that they are the ones that are behind the opposition to the amendment?
There's no question about it. They have to register publicly, and they are the same merchant groups who have fought this thing for years. The opposition officially calls it the Voters Action Association. The executive secretary of that group, the man who organized this association, is a registered lobbyist for the same group of merchants who have bottled up this legislation for years.
A lot of your opponents are saying that the people are not competent to judge this issue. Mr. Howlett, obviously you don't agree with this.
No, I don't. I think this issue has been in the smoke-filled rooms in Columbus for too many years. It's time that the people of this state had something to say about it. It was just situations of this kind that enabled or encouraged our forefathers to provide the initiative and referendum procedure.
Your opponents also are saying that if you legalize milk and bread to be sold on a Sunday, that pretty soon supermarkets will be allowed to operate on a Sunday. Do you believe this will happen?
Well, if this was going to happen, it would have happened a long time ago. Actually, supermarkets have the same right to be open that we are, and during our 23 years of operation, they have failed to be open, generally speaking, because it isn't good business for them. Our average transaction on Sunday is 87 cents. Theirs is around $10. There just isn't enough business for the large supermarket. The only food store that can afford to operate is the family-operated unit, such as ours and the mom and pops.
Your opponents also say something else. They say that the real power behind this amendment is Consolidated Foods, which owns your company. Now, they say Consolidated Foods wants these necessities legalized so the supermarkets can legally operate on a Sunday for their interest.
Well, our opponents are attacking our company vigorously instead of the amendment, and I think a look at our company would be worthwhile. Consolidated Foods is owned by 17,000 stockholders all over the state, many of them in Ohio. We have absolutely no interest in supermarket operations in this state, nor do we intend to have them. And therefore, the interest here is a local one. The Lawson management feels an end should come to the predatory attacks that have been launched on our business by competitors, and that the public should finally have a right to have these essential services legalized.
If this amendment should not pass, if it should be defeated, will this mean that all Lawson stores will be forced to close on Sundays?
I presume that some communities will enforce the law as they are now doing. It's difficult to predict how the law will be interpreted because that's up to the local law enforcement operators. But if we are forced to continue operating under a cloud of illegality, so will the gasoline stations, the drug stores, the radio stations, the TV stations, and those other essential services that we seek to legalize by this amendment. Now, we don't like this cloud and we want to clear it away. We think the public wants it cleared away because I think everybody wants fair play, and that's what this amendment seeks to achieve.
Thank you, Mr. Hollett.
Does the public want the cloud cleared away? We took our cameras to 6 major cities in Ohio to find out how people feel about issue 1. We asked housewives, businessmen, career girls, and working men how they felt about Sunday necessities and how they plan to vote. The interviews were completely unrehearsed and candid. All the opinions you will hear are opinions of the people interviewed. Listen.
Mrs. Joanne Burgett, 373 East Kanawha, Columbus.
Are you familiar with Ohio's blue law?
Yes.
Issue number 1 on the ballot this November is to amend that law to make the necessities available on a Sunday. Are you in favor of that?
Yes.
Would you tell me why, please?
I have a family. A lot of times you need milk on Sunday, or you need gasoline, or some necessities. Transportation.
You have children?
Yes, 2 boys.
How old are they, please?
14 and 8.
It's been necessary, then, I assume, from what you say, to buy such things as food, or you want to make a trip, gasoline for the car, or drug items on a Sunday.
Yes, not general shopping, just what I consider necessary household items.
This is a privilege, then, you'd like maintained?
Oh, yes.
You'll vote yes on issue 1.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
will.
very much. Would you tell me your name and address, please?
Ivor Young, 1620 Berkshire Road, Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you. You're familiar with the Ohio blue law?
Yes, I am.
Issue number 1 on the ballot this November is to amend that blue law to make necessities available on a Sunday. Will you vote yes on issue 1?
Yes.
May I have your reasons, please?
Well, as I understand the amendment, it will only be as to necessities that can be sold on Sunday. It won't be the out-and-out commercialization on Sunday that we have during the business days. Therefore, due to the family necessity, it doesn't seem repugnant to me to have this kind of commercialization on Sunday.
Are you a family man, sir?
Yes.
You have children?
Yes.
Have you found it necessary on a Sunday to yourself buy such things as a newspaper or drugs, perhaps, or
Quite
food items?
frequently. We don't plan that well not to have to go to the store on Sunday.
This is a privilege you'd like to see maintained, then?
Yes.
Mr. Louis Rosenbaum.
And your address?
3300 Homestead Street.
That's in Youngstown?
Yeah, that's in Youngstown on the south side.
Thank you. Are you familiar, sir, with the Ohio blue law?
Yes, I am, sir.
Will you vote yes on issue number 1 to amend that law?
Yes, I will.
Would you tell me why, please?
Well, I believe that if someone is sick and you need to go to the drugstore or something like that, that you should have it open so that you can go there and purchase what you need in case you have a sick child or something like that.
Have you found it necessary in the past to buy gasoline for your car or articles for personal hygiene or
Yes.
food for use on a Sunday?
Yes, I have, and I do believe that certain stores should be open on that.
And you believe this is a privilege that you want kept?
Yes, I do. I think any citizen that's voting should think likewise and realize if they have a child or something like that, there should be some place that they could purchase those necessary items to do that.
Will you vote yes on issue 1?
Yes, I will.
Would you tell me your name and address, sir?
Bob Edwards, 317 Westminster in Austintown.
In 1831, Ohio passed and put on the books a law, the so-called Ohio blue law. Are you familiar with it, sir?
Yes, sir.
Will you vote yes on issue 1 to amend that law this November?
Yes, sir, I certainly would.
May I ask, do you have a family?
Yes, sir, a family of 4.
That's your wife and 2 children?
No, wife and 4 children.
And 4 children?
That's right, sir.
Boys, girls, they evenly split, or how?
3 boys and 1 girl, sir.
Have you found it necessary to buy such things as milk or bread or
Commodities
food?
on Sunday, I certainly
drugs?
have.
You have?
Yes, sir.
And you would not like this privilege, I assume, taken away from you?
I would not, definitely not.
Would you vote yes for issue number 1?
I vote yes for issue number 1.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Would you tell me your name and address, please?
Mrs. James T. Moran, 2101 Harrison Avenue, Westwood.
Mrs. Moran, have you ever had occasion to buy gasoline or other products for your car, or food products, or prescription or patent medicine drugs on a Sunday?
Yes, I have, many times.
Do you have a Sunday paper delivered?
Yes, we do.
Listen to radio or TV on a Sunday?
Very much.
This is a privilege, I assume, that you would like to keep, then, maintain?
I certainly would.
Will you vote yes on issue 1?
I shall.
May I ask you why, please?
Well, I believe in things that are so necessary that you must be able to go and get them. There's just no reason why you shouldn't.
Would you tell me who you are, please?
I'm Mrs. John Bald, 1930 Vine Street,
And who's your
apartment
young?
9.
Thank you. Who's your young friend here?
This is David. This is my little boy.
Hi, David. Are you familiar with Ohio's blue law, Mrs.
Yes,
Baugh?
I am.
And will you vote yes on issue number 1?
Yes, I will, because well, I think it needs to be amended, really.
Have you found occasion to buy such things as gasoline or drugs or food on a Sunday in the past?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Do you do the bulk of your shopping through the week or on a weekend?
I do. I do it through the week, the bulk of it. But I find that there's always a time that I've forgotten something or I have extra company.
May I have your name and address, please?
M.L. Hahn, 2375 Montana Avenue.
Have you had occasion in the past, sir, to buy, let's say, gasoline for the car or food items or perhaps medicines on a Sunday?
Definitely.
This is something you would like maintained?
Yes, sir.
You will vote yes, then, for issue 1?
I sure would.
Thank you very much. Who are you, please?
Mrs. C.F. Rosso,
And your address?
15 East Sharon Avenue, Glendale.
Are you downtown doing a bit of shopping today?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with Ohio's blue law?
Yes, I am.
Will you vote yes on issue number 1 on the ballot this November?
I will vote that they shall sell only necessities.
Would you tell me your name, sir?
John Delbeck.
Where do you live?
2545 Sylvania Avenue.
May I ask you your line of work?
I'm a brokerage consultant.
You are familiar with Ohio's blue laws that was passed in 1831?
Yes, I am.
And issue number 1 on this November's ballot, will you vote yes for that amendment?
Yes, I will.
This is the necessities amendment. Will you tell me why you're voting for it?
Well, there should be no reason why in America, when necessities are needed, there should be any restrictions on these.
You are then in favor of updating the law, bringing it up to date?
I am.
May I ask your name and address, please?
Mrs. LaDonna Whalen, 1527 Huron.
Do you have a family, Mrs. Whalen?
I have 4 grown children and 9 grandchildren.
Will you vote yes on issue number 1?
Yes, I would.
May I ask why, please?
Because I believe these necessary stores should be open on Sunday and for emergencies and, well, just general ideas, general purposes.
Have you found it necessary to buy food items, such as when the grandchildren perhaps come to visit?
Yes, I've run out of bread or I've run out of cookies for the children. I've needed milk when they come over, and I don't keep it in the house for just the 2 of us, you know.
Drug items, perhaps?
Yes, lots of times. Aspirin or medicines, you know.
As the Ohio blue law stands now, as it was passed in 1831, it is also possible to close down utilities and the publication of newspapers, the broadcasting of radio and television. I assume you wouldn't want to see that happen.
No.
You will vote yes on issue number 1?
I will vote yes on issue number 1. I sure will.
Thank you, Mrs. Whalen.
Thank you.
Who are you, please, sir?
I'm Mr. John Ryan.
And where do you live?
2001 Gay Drive. In Kettering.
Thank you.
Very south of Dayton.
On the ballot this November will be issue number 1. This is for amending Ohio's blue law so necessities may be sold on a Sunday without interference. Will you vote yes on that amendment?
Yes, I feel very strongly that I would.
Why?
I feel that there are certain necessities that should be available even on Sunday, even though there are many places that probably should be closed on Sunday. At the same time, there are necessities that should be obtainable even on Sunday, such as the necessities for, like, children, for instance, health needs, milk, for instance, possibly your drugs, things of this nature.
You are going to vote yes, then, on issue number 1?
Very definitely.
Who are you, please?
My name is Mrs. John Nickel.
And you're from where?
From Dayton, Ohio.
Where do you live, please?
On California Avenue.
Are you familiar with Ohio's blue law that was passed in 1831?
Yes, I am.
And the issue number 1 on this November's ballot is to amend and make available, without interference, the necessities on a Sunday. Are you going to vote yes for that amendment?
Yes, I am.
May I ask why?
Well, mainly because I feel that there are certain necessities that we do need, and it's an antiquated law, for sure.
I believe every person should have the right to buy something that they need on Sunday or any other day. If you don't want to buy anything, you don't have to, but I think it should be available.
I'm Mrs. Edward Meadow.
And you, sir?
Dr. Meadow.
Doctor, where's your address?
719 Wicklow Place.
Are you familiar with the Ohio blue law?
Yes, sir.
On the ballot this November is issue number 1. This is the amendment to the Ohio blue law that provides for necessities, that the necessities shall be allowed to be sold on Sunday. Are you in favor of this?
Yes, I am.
Doctor, would you vote yes on this amendment?
Definitely, yes, sir.
Would you tell me your name, sir, and where you live?
Charles Shingledecker. I live at 680 Milton Drive, Minner, Ohio.
You have a family, sir?
Yes, I do. I have 3 children at home, and I have 1 married daughter.
Any grandchildren yet?
I have 2 grandchildren.
There's occasions perhaps when the children visit you too?
When the grandchildren are over, particularly on weekends, why we have to have extra milk, and that's something that pops up out of a blue sky, and we don't know that ahead of time, and it's necessary for us to have milk on Sundays.
You're voting yes then on issue number 1?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. Who are you, sir?
My name is Nathaniel Noble of 4210 Woodland.
Nathaniel, are you familiar with Ohio's blue law?
Yes, I am.
Will you vote yes on issue number 1?
To let the store, essential things be open on Sunday, I'm for that.
Would you tell me your name and address, please?
My name is Louis Maw, and I live on Clarence Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio.
Are you familiar with Ohio's blue law?
Yes, I am.
Will you vote yes on issue number 1 to amend that law?
Yes, I will.
Would you tell me why, please?
Yes, I believe every person should have an opportunity to purchase things on Sunday. I have a brother that has four young children. He needs his milk and bread, and he has to get his gasoline for work, and you can't get everything in 6 days. It takes, so I think 7 days. I think certain things should be open on Sunday that are needed, are necessities, not furniture or things like that, but necessities, I think, should be open on Sunday.
You've heard the sponsors of this issue speak. You've heard the people in the street. And you've probably been reading newspaper articles and editorials both for and against the amendment. Now it's time to make up your own mind. The moral issue here is basically one of honesty versus hypocrisy. All of the people of Ohio want necessities on Sunday and are now buying them. They are buying all of the items listed in the amendment. Do we want these items available honestly or not? Once again, these are the items you will be voting to legalize on Sunday if you vote yes on issue 1. Public utilities and transportation, radio and TV, household fuels, drugs and medical supplies, newspapers and other news media, gasoline and oil, milk and other foods, products used for personal hygiene and sanitation. That's the complete list. If you agree that these items are necessary 7 days a week and that you should be able to get any of them legally without interference, then you should vote yes for issue 1. Remember, issue 1 covers only necessities. Non-essential items are not included. The issue is as simple as this. If you want to limit Sunday commercialism and guarantee your right to buy necessities, you should vote yes to pass the amendment. This is a copy of the ballot. If you vote on a voting machine, you will not be able to read the list of items that the amendment proposes to make clearly legal for Sunday sale. Remember that these are the same items we have been talking about, the necessities of modern family living. Your yes vote will legalize only these necessities. This sentence is long and confusing to some people. What it means is, if you don't want the listed items available on Sundays, vote no. If you do want them available, vote yes. Vote yes for Honest Sundays. Vote yes for issue 1.